Hello, and welcome back to the PatricksGreenTea podcast. This past week I didn't release an episode because I was just too busy with making my documentary for school. I did 3 Zoom interviews and shot a concert, which was pretty awesome and eventful. Both guitarists and the bassist broke their strings during their performance since it was so cold outside. Afterwards I spent the night with the lead guitarist and bassist, smoking lots of weed and drinking a bit. I'm very excited to record an episode of this podcast with that crew. The main takeaway from that is this podcast might have an irregular release schedule between now and the middle of December. I'll make announcements on the show's Twitter account at PatricksGreenTea without an S. That's it, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hi, it is me again. In the middle of the woods, kind of freaking out. No, just kidding. Only a little bit. Because I was listening to music. I was listening to some of the Dark Knight soundtracks. I try to avoid the Dark Knight itself because it's such like a perfect soundtrack in my mind, and I don't want to hear it again until I rewatch it. Because I've been planning with my girlfriend to rewatch the Dark Knight trilogy. She's never seen it, so that's mainly why I'm doing it in the first place. She really liked the Batman Begins, which made me feel good. Because looking back retrospectively, I thought that in comparison to the other two, Batman Begins was kind of like not as good. But I think I've seen it in a new light this time. I liked it a lot better, being more mature and knowing what more the adult speak was about, versus me when I was 12. So I shouldn't even be, that hard on myself. Or think that it was something that, it was an opinion that I should be wedded to, Last time I saw the movie was probably when I was between 12 and 14 for sure. No, maybe earlier actually, 2011 I think, because I watched the Dark Knight and everything when the Dark Knight Rises wasn't even announced. It was right that summer or whatever, so I guess it was 2011. So that's cool. Anyways, I'm a huge fan of the series and I haven't really thought about it in a long time. So I put on some music and I couldn't find this one track. It was literally, it's basically Aurora. Hans Zimmer did a chorus, a cappella, I guess, song in the wake of the Aurora, Colorado shooting, and it was really good. But it was a cappella. There's another track that he, I guess, based it off of. I mean, just the orchestration. I can't think of the right word. The putting instruments in it. So he just changed the instrument parts for human parts. But the instrumental one, it ends where Aurora ends, except it doesn't fall flat necessarily. It doesn't feel like there's no hope. Aurora's kind of bleak and depressing at the end. But in this one, it's before the Aurora, Colorado. I can't even speak today. The Aurora, Colorado shooting. They didn't even know that was happening. They didn't really associate mass death with Batman, That was the first time it's ever happened, I guess. So it was kind of scary. But before they had that fear, they had this, pure sound in the, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about soundtracks, but I don't even know where I'm at. Alright. We're going to scrap that whole idea. It wasn't really important. Anyway, I'm walking the woods still. Currently heading away from my vehicular. Oh, it's only been 3.5 minutes. It feels like it's been longer. I want to say that every time. No, I'm looking at my health statistics. I want to see how far I walked. 1 mile. Okay, I think we're safe to go back, or at least head back, and then go from there. Because I didn't really walk much in the beginning. This was all into the woods type walking, so there was no back and forth. I just kicked the stick. So Batman, it's a fun universe, and it's so I'm so excited to see the Dark Knight again for the first time in a long time with that same sort of matured perspective. And even though I knew what happened in the Batman Begins, I sort of missed the details, and I'm realizing that I forgot the details of the Dark Knight, some of them. So I think them coming back to me would be really fun. So I've been avoiding any sort of listening to the Dark Knight soundtrack for that reason. I listened to Batman Begins. Training was the name of the track, which is a great track. It's really good. It's really embryonic, and they don't use it again in the rest of the trilogy, but it's so beautiful. It's really good. Anyway, I listened to that. I tried to listen to The End, which is off the Dark Knight Rises soundtrack, I think, but it was too depressing. Or it was too, like, not what I was expecting. It was very electronic and, like, weird. Or I was expecting, like, the orchestral masterpiece. I think really the track I'm looking for is A Watchful Guardian. The instrumental one. Because I think it's the same thing. And it's played at the end scene of The Dark Knight, right into the credits. I think, I don't know. I think I want to avoid it until I see it on the TV. The problem is that I haven't really had access to my home theater because, people are working home right now because of the coronavirus. So I had to limit my theater time to essentially zero. I don't think I've used that TV once, which is really depressing. It's a giant ass TV. It's the biggest one we have, and like the speakers are like really good, but the thing is you need like a lot of empty space around you in order to not bother anyone. Like people need to be out of the house and also like a block over. But we're in the middle of the woods, so I mean it doesn't go that loud where you really hear it that far outside the house, but I'm sure you hear the thuds and stuff, and that must be annoying if you're a tenant living next door, But so I want to watch it on the big screen, but I don't think like much is going to be sacrificed by putting it on the small screen. But I think if I put the two side by side, seeing the larger screen or smaller screen, just for the size of everything, I think I would see a huge difference that I wouldn't be willing to compromise on. So I really want to schedule a time when everyone's out of the house, maybe kick people out, jokingly and lovingly, of course, where I can watch that movie with my girlfriend. I almost said her name. So this is nice. I was really freaked out before, just listening to music, not being able to hear your surroundings, but wanting to absorb the music. There's that dilemma. And then also, because this is so much nicer. I have a full ear to myself and one ear that's not really hearing any noise. Oh, this is weird. Oh, I know where I am. I think. I've never seen that before. I'm gonna go that direction. It goes into the power lines. That makes no sense. I'm gonna look at a map real quick. So it's been less than 10 minutes, so I can easily just go back if I'm going the wrong way, but I don't think I am. Oh, I might be. Yeah, I think I am. I'm gonna head back now. Yeah, head back now. Did I say I wasn't going to my vehicle, or I was going to it? Because I remember saying I was going to it, and honestly, I don't remember, so I'm going to use the safe option. I saw Airplane yesterday. It was good, except like I was at my parents' house when we were watching it, and my dad like came home and like in the middle of it. So before I had this suspicion that my mom didn't like the movie and was like it was just grating to her or something, because like her opening line right before the real opening line started, she was like, "Oh, I remember watching it with your dad. I remember not liking it." So I was like, okay, that's a great spirit to be going into a movie with, because I wanted to like it too, but I feel I couldn't really like it when I thought she wasn't liking it, or like there was a lot of dead air. Then my dad came home and he's like what I saw as the armchair expert on this movie, the closest one available basically, and I hear like a weird beeping. I don't know if you can hear it. All right, anyway. So he's the closest person to me in my immediate vicinity to consult him. He said he liked it, and as soon as he came in, he's like, "Oh, is that Airplane?" And he got all excited and watched the rest with us, which is great because that's kind of rare. But then, like, every time, so I was like, oh, okay, my mom, because we had to pause the TV for something, we're like, my mom said, "Oh, I'm liking this movie" or something, and then we went back to it, and my dad would like say the jokes as they came up. Which are these iconic lines, which would have been cool to see and be like, oh, now I get the reference. But he was like calling them before they came in, like, "And don't call me Shirley, and don't call me Shirley." And then he comes up, he's like, "I am serious, and don't call me Shirley," he says at the same time. So, it was a little annoying. But I didn't care about the movie that much. Like, I chose a movie that I knew I wouldn't want to be too invested in. Because every time I watch movies with my parents, there's always pausing, there's lights on, there's like all this stuff that's like not ideal, not conducive to a movie watching experience. Also, I had a dream last night that there was, Susie from Stranger Things season 3. I won't spoil what she does, but I just watched the show, I guess, up to that season, and then you'll get on the last episode, she comes up. I mean, she comes up throughout the season, but, like, never mind. But, so it was Susie in my dream. But it wasn't Susie per se, it was, like, some, like, clone of her. Not clone, like, literal clone, but, like her template, like this is the same characteristics, same personality, everything, but it wasn't her, it was someone else. And it was like I was a longshoreman. I don't even know what longshoreman is, but I think I was one in this dream because I heard that word so many times recently. It's stuck in my brain. Yeah. See, I got lost a little bit earlier. I think we're on the right way now. I had a phone back 5-7 years ago that it wouldn't give you the correct orientation of the top of your phone on the screen, but if it was like a map or something. So it was complete guesswork. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, if you really had to navigate, it was guesswork, but usually you didn't, and you knew where the roads were. But if I was in a situation where I needed to get out of somewhere, like Madrid, and that wasn't working, I would have been severely, I don't know. It would severely handicap my general ability to get out of there. Every time I see giant, scary, black, balls, clumps of stuff, like leaves or whatever, I think it's like an animal, and it's so, ugh. I mean, it's not as bad because I feel like I'm with someone, even though I'm not. I don't know. Speaking of that, we're going to go on that real quick. I've been feeling like, there's a lot of crunching happening, I'm sorry. I've been feeling like I haven't been, no, let me restart that. I don't think that made sense. I don't think I've been hanging out with friends as much as I really should. I sort of I don't know if I closed out all the friends in my life, or I just because there's one dude, we'll call him L, the letter L. He, for a while, a few months stretch, we would try to hang out with him like my other friends, and he wouldn't respond for a long time. We thought he was or he would set up plans, and then as we were preparing to go, just go radio silent. And then a few days later, doesn't respond, but then he posts stuff on his social media and stuff. It's just I don't know if I'm confusing two people there or not, but anyway, because I've definitely been the victim of ghosting. That's for sure ghosting, but I don't know what this L character is doing. If he just doesn't want to hang out or what. So while I was working the other day, I ran into him, and I always have warm feelings for L. He's a really cool guy. The thing is, the only problem is that he's always too busy or just not, doesn't make himself available. Or like won't tell us why he's unavailable. Because if he just said that he was too busy or something came up or whatever, we would all totally understand. But he didn't tell us. He left us high and dry, I mean, it wasn't an emergency if there was no like major, like, oh, sorry guys, I was in the hospital or something, whatever. None of that. I don't know. Maybe I'm too salty. I was trying to start this conversation with a good light. I don't know how he even came up. Damn, you guys probably know. I'm thinking friends. Okay. Wow, I made it. Yay. But so like, when I do try to make plans with people, they're very slow to make them. They don't want to follow up. And like, that was one person, I should say. Another person, I have some friends that we just like, they're introverted, I guess. So they don't like hanging out as much, but they do, they want to, but they don't want to do it like every day, or like that often, just like once, twice a month. But to at least have this like consistent thing going, and it works. Like we see each other and we're happy we did. But then there's also the problem of the pandemic. We'd probably be seeing each other more often if we weren't in the middle of this. Probably would have started a campaign of some sort. D&D. Man, I'm thinking now, like, what if they have time, I'd love to play D&D with them, or like Shadowrun. Like try to study the game more, really go at it like more prepared, I should say, better equipped. Because the last two times they were fun, but like the game master, he like or dungeon master, whatever, he placed us in this like so the whole game is like a cyberpunk future in like 2099 or something, some like crazy far off future where like the Navajo Nation like takes over Canada and like most of the northern United States. Texas secedes and all this stuff, and then dragons like awaken in Denver, or at least one does, and then there's all these other dragons and like weird mystical stuff happening too, like wizards and people having special abilities, and people just like one day just having this condition where they just wake up as an ogre or something. It was like what are those words? It's ogre, right? No, it's orc. Waking up as an orc. And supposedly that was how they always were, but magic was suppressed in the world, and like these ogres and fairies and everything came back from their like dormant state of looking human and stuff. But anyway, you have all that fantasy like greatness. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of fantasy, but the fact that this is fantasy mixed with cyberpunk really makes it interesting. I like the cyberpunk element myself, because D&D is only fantasy, and it's like not as high fantasy, I think. That's a complete lie. It's pretty high fantasy in terms of the depth of everything. Anyway, I'm really hot. There's no sun. It's overcast, but it's really humid. I'm approaching my car, my vehicular, and I'm wondering if I should just do a circle or something around. I think I will, but not in this. Let me see what that little area looks like, and I'll come back. But anyway. What I was trying to say with the friend thing, I think, is that they're there, but it's pretty sparse. I can't, and like none of them that are really close to me live close to me, except for one guy who also is just busy because he works, So anyway, this L character that I was mentioning earlier, so I wrapped that up instead of just wrapping it up in like some garbage, ill-intended stuff, because it wasn't ill-intended. It just like ended off on a bad note. We tried I met him while I was door dashing, and then we ran into each other on his road. We like caught up a little bit, but not really because it was like 2 seconds. But I parked on the side of the road, so I wasn't going anywhere. I wanted to have a real conversation, and then we did, and he seemed like really enthusiastic about everything. I asked to hang out, and he said he works, but he's only available on the weekends, but like, I guess only Sundays, and most Sundays he's busy or something. I don't know, it's one of those. So like, yeah, it's 1 day a week. I'm gonna afford the guy like some space. So now it's a much more understandable reason to, I don't know, be unavailable. I have my girlfriend, which I've seen basically, or who I've seen, not which. She sees me like every day, except for like the rare stretches where she goes on a trip or something. And she, even if she's totally busy during the day, we'll meet up like at night, basically, like, which it worked for a while, when she's busy. There's nothing we can do. Like when I'm working, I wake up really late, right up until I start working. I work the lunch shift, come back for a few hours to eat and do everything else, and then I go right out again until like 9:30, that range. So, it's considering what it is, it pays really well. It pays like not like an entry level job at all. But the thing is, it's in shorter spurts. So like you can work the weekday, but there's barely anything to make money on. Weekday, there's a lot of leaves and stuff back here. Maybe I shouldn't go back here. Weekday is really not busy, like compared to the weekend. The weekend is just popping off. Weekday I could probably figure out if I was desperate, or was curious, or bored, or all things at the same time. But I wasn't willing to. All right, this is all overgrown. I'm gonna take a picture, and you guys are gonna see it on the website. I'm gonna take a fisheye picture. Feels like it's out of focus. Yeah, it's definitely weirdly out of focus when I zoom it out. Alright, so we're going to stay on the course. I don't know what course that is. Stay the course is the correct way to say that. I've walked plenty today. But I just don't want to get in my car because it's a boring situation. Joe Rogan has finally had some interesting podcasts recently. From Rob Lowe, who I just haven't had time to watch because I keep watching his other podcasts, to I started going back onto the Joe Rogan train with the Innocence Project people. And I've listened to a few of their podcasts. It's really good. It's cool that they try to get innocent people off of death row and everything. Because like if they're not fighting for them, no one really is. I mean, some people are, but they don't have the funds, the people, the numbers, Anyway. The thing I was going to talk about, potentially, I didn't even talk about. I'll talk about it now. My car has been acting up. So I'm going to take my earbud out. I think it was just a car. It sounded like a gurgle of some sort of animal. A growl. Anyway, my car wouldn't start one night. I was coming back from my girlfriend's house. And then all of a sudden they're like we were trying to jump it, like if it was a battery problem, and it still wouldn't start. It didn't sound like a battery problem. I've had a battery one before in that car, and it's different. Like this one took, and the engine kind of went a little bit and then died out. Turned turned out to be this. We thought it was the fuel pump, so we got a fuel pump changed. And then this is probably really boring. Oh my god. Long story short, we tried to fix it, and then it turned out to be something else because the car still wouldn't start. So it turned out to be this weird plug in the back, and it's supposedly a 10-minute fix, but I mean, like, I took it from the mechanic because I don't know. My dad was like having a not good time. Like, he would take forever on the job for like no apparent reason, or do something the long way around. So we weren't a fan of that. But then, so my dad took it from him, and my dad promised to fix it. But it's been like 2 weeks at this point, and I want to fucking. There's this guy I've been looking to collab with. It's a collage, but with two. And he bought a specific strain of weed that we're going to do. We're going to review. I don't know how it's going to work, whether I'm going to be live with him or if it's going to be pre-recorded with him. But either way, it's going to be us together. And I wanted to get the stuff. My car has been like out of commission. So I haven't been able to go anywhere. Even if I wanted to see my friend Nick perform, which is way out in upstate New York, I can't do that. So like this weekend, I was going to make a huge trip out of it, potentially, but it just never came to pass. And I only have one opportunity to see him again. And it would have been 2 for the whole summer. And that's really depressing. I could have gone to other ones, but I was just like... I mean, like, the car thing is not the problem, the source of that problem. I think literally he was just elsewhere and too busy, you know? Or, not... Okay, let me rephrase that. He was doing other stuff that was not camping, so I couldn't stay with him. Or, yeah, no. That's not what I wanted to say either. So I couldn't stay over, like, not necessarily with him, but just like, you know, because when it's a campground, you just go somewhere, you watch him play, then walk like 200 feet to your tent and sleep. You know, you're all fed, you have food everywhere. But I said stay with him because he offered me to stay at like in a tent of his, a trailer of his, whatever, probably a trailer, and that's like super awesome of him because I'm his only like out of state fan, I guess. And I'm a big fan. I spend a lot of time with the guy, and I like what he does and what he has to do, what he's got going on. It's really peaceful here. I don't know why I keep the earbud in my ear when I record, because it just makes me less able to hear things. Also, my voice sounds really tinny. Sounds like I don't know. I don't know if it's my ears or my little throat. Literal. I tend to like stumble across a lot of my syllables. Especially this podcast. I don't usually do that. It's weird. You guys can probably hear every footstep. But I think my voice is way louder than that, so it's probably not a problem. And it's a nice ambience. Ambiance. I like this reservoir a lot. I like this whole system of reservoirs. If I ever leave this area, like really far, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to them. I don't know. I didn't really say goodbye to the stuff in Colorado. I guess because I didn't feel a sense of ownership over it or like attachment. It was just like a thing to see. And I was kind of marathoning it, how much I could see in one trip. Not necessarily. It didn't feel like a marathon. A lot of days I just took an off day and worked a little bit with DoorDash, which was amazing. I can't believe that's real. You know, I can just be somewhere, you just make money. If you're like wherever you are in the country, as long as it's a, you know, well populated and not the middle of nowhere. But I don't know. I miss that. I miss that time in Colorado. It was really cool. And I felt so, like, detached from anything. I just did things, you know? It was cool. I didn't even, at that point, I wasn't paying. The only thing I was paying for was gas, basically. Because it was only a month, you know? All the month bills are going to come in later, the next month. But, I'm trying to think of the order of events. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I don't know what I was talking about. Oh, Colorado, yeah. It was cool, though. I saw some cool stuff. But, like, how often are you able to go somewhere really far away that you want to see, you know, and just explore it? First of all, it's such a privilege of, like, time where you need to be making enough money to be somewhere that long. Then again, you don't have to be somewhere for that long, you know. It's just, like, hearing weird gulps and weird noises in the bushes. I don't know. I gotta plan at least a trip a year or something. I mean, that used to be Dead and Company. I would just travel around. I got all my kicks in that way. But this summer I've been kind of idle, and it hasn't really been getting to me until I guess right now. I am at a sitting rock that I found and that I enjoy. Ugh. I've used a sitting rock before. It's nice. So yeah, what I'm really excited about, hopefully that it happens today. I want my girlfriend to see The Dark Knight. I want it to be really special for her. I have the Blu-ray, but I don't know if Netflix is better or if it matters at a screen that size. I just wanted to have the best experience possible, you know. But I mean, like, the other one is passable, you know. It's not bad, it's passable. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing when she's not really looking at the stuff. And it's not really a visual movie. I mean, it kind of is. But just my idea of why I would want to have it is just the stuff that big TVs just make everything bigger. So, like, the whole... there's less separation, I guess, between you and the movie. I can't think of the word. Absorption. It's like one of those. It's not one of those, but it's kind of like that. Immersion. That's the one. All right, I'm gonna go to my car. Back to the car. Yeah, the immersion though. That immersion though. No, seriously. It's good. When it's good, you know? There's definitely some sort of little animal in there. I don't think it's a bear. But my fear is strong of bears. It's pretty strong. Because it's like something that you can't fight against unless you literally have a gun or something. And I'm not going to carry around a gun in the woods, you know? At least not here. Not in this state. That wouldn't go over well. But yeah, it's just something that's giant. Can kill you if it wants to, you know, easily. I carry a knife, but I don't know how well that's going to do against this thing. Probably just annoy it, honestly. People always say that, and that's kind of like a beaten to death term. But it's true. Like, it's just going to piss it off. And make you want to kill me faster. So, it makes me feel better, you know. But, I don't know. It's like Minecraft. My feet hitting the ground. I'm growing up in a weird world. I'm not growing up. I did all my growing up, I think, except for like the bigger stakes life problems that I could potentially hit. You know, they're still growing up on that front. Because I guess you grow up all the way until you're like, if I had to guess, like 80, you know. You just keep changing. But like 70 probably is where you would start just staying the same and not wanting to change anything. I'm sure that sentiment is big in like a whole, over several generations, you know. But old people for sure, because they can't do anything they're pretty much helpless. I mean, I'm not calling old people helpless. Maybe that's ageist of me, even though I just called them helpless. What I'm trying to say is that they can't fight for themselves really unless they've trained, you know. And you don't really see that happening. You just see older people running marathons and stuff, which is not strength based, because your body just can only do so much after a certain age. And what I'm trying to say is that I'd imagine if you're not, you know, going out and getting stuff, you're like settling down, you're tired, you know, you don't want newness. I don't even know what I was trying to say. Music? No. Coronavirus? No. Ugh. Oh, Minecraft. See, I'm talking about how I'm growing up in a weird age. And I think just the world is growing up right now. Or the world is growing into itself, into the things that were set up in the decades before that just had to play out. Like the experiment that was the end of the 20th century. Because the 20th century was a lot of experiments in like the bad direction. I mean, I think maybe we'll look back on this also as a bad direction of like literally billionaires not existing to this extent or having this much money since like a long time ago, or not that long ago, I should say. Like we was like 1 billionaire in the year 1980 or something, and then there's like however many now. I could be wrong, but that's definitely a year somewhere. And it was definitely in like the 20th century category. There were never just individuals who became monarchs, you know, just from being innovative or whatever it is they do. And then, I don't know, or just inheriting the empire, so I guess it is kind of a monarchy. People in charge of big oil and stuff. Big oil. So yeah, I'm walking in like mud right now. It's not really mud, it's just very dry, but I think it has the consistency of mud. How long is this podcast? I'm gonna guess like 40 minutes. Yeah. Also, I hear Joe Rogan call episodes podcasts, so I don't know what to think anymore. And yes, it's been 39 minutes exactly. Steve Mnuchin. I want to go somewhere. I want to go somewhere. When I get more sober, I think. But I do want to go somewhere. Where though? Wendy's. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I've been wanting to get this the cookie sundae thing, and now I can. So, ice cream bar at the dollar store is $1, but a frosty sundae with like cookies in it is $2 or $3, whatever it is. I literally think it's $2. Pretty good. I mean, it's not. I think the Twix ice cream bars or whatever, the Snickers one too, are underpriced at the dollar store. But that's the beauty of the dollar store. I wonder how they make money. Because they have a lot of like kind of shitty stuff, like movies that no one's gonna watch. And I imagine like selling, or like the money you make from the shitty stuff outweighs the more important stuff. I don't know. don't know. I couldn't like make a life out of the dollar store food and stuff. So it's not like, I'm sorry if I'm blowing the mic. Damn, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be. Please forgive me. The food is like frozen. Not very good. But that concludes my ramblings about the dollar store. Okay. I think I'm going to end the podcast. Sorry for blowing you. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Watch the Dark Knight trilogy, but most importantly, listen to the soundtrack afterwards. A Watchful Guardian is a really good track. And Why Do We Fall? Goodbye.
Hello. Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can find me at PatricksGreenTea on Patreon, Discord, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, and Bandcamp, PatricksGreenTea Podcast on Instagram, and PatrickGreenTea without an S on Twitter. The show is available wherever you get your podcasts. Supplemental materials like photos and text are available on our website, PatricksGreenTea.com. You can join our subreddit at r/PatricksGreenTea. You can make comments on YouTube and on the website, and you can contact me directly at PatricksGreenTea@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave a review of the show on your favorite podcasting platform. It really helps us out. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.